I'm Jason Colthorpe in Dearborn tonight, where we're getting new information on an incident that happened at Fordson High School.
What I can say is it's behaviors that we will not tolerate in the school district, and again, that's part of that is because we have an ongoing investigation.
What students are saying, they say needs to happen next.
All right, Jason, also an Oakland County mother's murder finally solved 23 years later. The defenders reveal how technology helped find her killer.
Making good on the deal. A man wanted in Redford Township for several warrants delivers on his promise to turn himself in.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
We begin the news tonight at 11 with a school district trying to keep parents informed while rumors fly on social media.
All revolving around an incident last Monday at Dearborn's Fordson High School that has led to suspensions, a police investigation, and then student protests.
Jason Colthorpe live at Fordson High School tonight. Jason, what's the superintendent saying about all this?
Boy, he's really trying to keep control of this whole situation and having a tough time. He's calling this reality, not a reality show. But unfortunately, the unfortunate reality is that this is, like we said, spinning out of control. And now video of this alleged naked locker room beatdown has gotten online, along with some of the students' names, with no regard for their privacy.
Let me make it clear. The students involved exhibited behaviors that we will not tolerate in this district.
The Dearborn superintendent speaking to the board tonight about the incident that students say involved 3 members of the Fordson JV football team who assaulted a freshman player in the locker room.
As soon as it came to our attention, administration was on it, investigating. We had students removed from the school almost immediately. We've been in contact with the Dearborn police from the start.
Because of that social media frenzy that's fired up students and parents, Glenn Maleko says he's trying to be transparent, but the district's hands are tied.
I think people are out there and we can't share information. They want to know more. Well, unfortunately, we're bound by law, state law. We have minors involved.
I spoke with 3 Fordson seniors who want to remain anonymous, but also wanted to hear the superintendent speak tonight.
I'm glad that he addressed it, and I'm glad that something's happening with it. However, I would have liked to have known more about what the steps they're going to be taking to prevent something like this happening in the future.
They're worried a few boys are casting a big shadow over all Dearborn schools, and if it's not addressed internally with students, this could happen again.
So I feel like a safe learning environment should be a guarantee that I should receive, And
right now it doesn't feel like
that. It doesn't. It feels threatening.
Yeah.
Because that could happen to anyone.
Now, there has been a lot of positivity with this. The students say they've seen a lot of unity with a lot of the Dearborn high schools coming together on this, not just within their school. And the superintendent also says he's had a lot of parents reach out that are also positive in all this and appreciate what he's trying to do with getting this information out. Kimberly?
And Jason, as far as the investigation goes, where does that stand tonight?
Well, we can only confirm that there is one, and both the district and police playing it very close to the vest simply because it involves juveniles, but we will be following that as it progresses.
Yeah. Okay, keep us posted, Jason. Thanks. Devin?
It is a somber anniversary for a Detroit family. Tonight marks a year since 15-year-old Jada Rankin was gunned down because a speeding driver was asked to slow down. Her killer has never been caught. Mar McDonald live on the west side of town with a family that wants some help tracking down a murderer. Mara.
Devin, they need some help. Let me set this up for you. A year ago tonight, Jada Rankin out here on Ardmore with her family. It was her brother's birthday. They were getting ready to go home to their home in Sterling Heights. So, car comes flying down Ardmore. A shot is fired. She gets hit. Her family has marked the spot where she fell. Jada loved everything purple and sparkly, so for her mom, it was a no-brainer to put out the call for purple balloons tonight, marking the 1-year anniversary of the pretty little 15-year-old's murder.
I feel like somebody took my real little sister.
Jada was an outstanding student, 4.0 in Sterling Heights. She was at her grandmother's house here on Ardmore in Detroit when she was killed.
Youngest son's birthday, they were celebrating. He drove down the street. My son said, slow down. He slowed down, reached out his car, pulled out a gun and shot Jada right where you're standing. She took her last breath right there.
Jada's family has no idea who the shooter is, and so far neither do police. Whoever it is decided to fire at a child simply because he was yelled at to slow down on a residential street. Tijuana had plans for her only daughter. This isn't how her story was supposed to end.
I have all the hope in the world that the person who fires the shots, I don't believe he's going to come, but someone is going to come through, and justice will be served for Jada.
Justice for Jada! Justice for Jada!
Justice for Jada, the rallying cry of the crowd before they sent her balloons into the sky. Back here live, Crime Stoppers has upped the reward for information on Jada's murder to $8,000. If you know who fired that shot, that $8,000 could be yours. All you've got to do is call 1-800-SPEAK-UP. We're on Detroit's West Side tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Okay, Mara. A gas station in New Baltimore is shut down tonight after its fuel tanks became contaminated with water. Multiple drivers took to social media today to say their cars broke down after getting watered down gasoline at the Valero on 23 Mile in Jefferson. The gas station told us off camera there were cracks in the underground tanks, and with all the recent rain, water managed to seep in.
When my wife got gas in that truck yesterday, it had like an eighth of a tank. And she put like 12 or 13 gallons in, and they said probably 1/3 of it was water.
Folks at Valero are making this right. They say their insurance company will cover repair costs for any drivers affected.
The criminal who challenged Redford Township Police is finally in police custody. Michael Zadell, also known as Champagne Torino, turned himself in this evening. When the police department posted about him being a wanted man, he commented saying if their post reached 1,000 shares, he would show up with donuts. Well, he delivered on that promise tonight. He was arrested on several misdemeanor warrants, and he's due in court tomorrow morning.
Well, Thursday marks an important day for the city of Detroit.
That is the deadline for all cities to make a pitch for Amazon's HQ2, its second headquarters. Dan Gilbert and company have been leading the charge in recruiting the internet giant. We've showed you the video they prepared. The city that gets the honor of hosting HQ2 could see up to 50,000 new jobs. Average salary about $100,000.
Fantastic to get it. Yep.
See something. A controversial costume pulled from a popular website following outrage on social media. We'll have a look at why so many felt it was offensive.
A scare in the air for hundreds of passengers when a plane plunges 20,000 feet. Why some travelers are blaming the flight crew for causing more panic. Hi, Ben.
Kim, you got to go all the way back to May 9th to find temperatures this chilly in Metro Detroit. Quick warm up, though, and plenty of sun. We'll see where we go for the rest of the week coming up.
It's that chill.
His mother found dead at a local park.
You don't have cell phones, so there's no tracking the person.
Then a conversation behind bars.
This jailhouse snitch.
Could it be the clue they're looking for? How detectives were able to solve this cold case.
You have to face what you have done.
The defenders next.
His grandmother cooked for some of Motown's favorite artists. Now, this chef wants to share those recipes with you. Tasty Tuesday at 6 a.m.
A murder mystery. A mother's body found in a park. All leads go cold for years. Then,
it was the modern technology that ended up solving this.
How were detectives able to track down the killer? And for the first time, the victim's son speaks out.
That kind of tore me up inside, you know, to find out how she was done and how she was killed.
DNA technology helped catch up with the killer, technology that was not available when Rosla Brantley's murder was committed 23 years ago.
And tonight, a rare opportunity to go step by step with deputies from the Oakland County Sheriff's Cold Case Squad on how they solved the murder of this local mother. Defender Karen Drew has the story.
This is where Rosla Brantley's body was found, just off the boat ramp here in Hawthorne Park in Pontiac. The gruesome discovery was made about 6 in the morning, August 29th of 1994. Her body was beaten and stabbed, rolled in a curtain. Police had a mystery on their hands. Police say Rosla Brantley didn't have enemies. She was 23 years old, liked to go out with her friends. She was also a mom of a toddler.
I was robbed of the chance of getting to know my mom.
Dominic was only 3 years old when his mom was murdered.
When I was in like elementary, I always cried because I didn't have my mom. And I would always be upset because I couldn't believe she was gone, you know, so I was in a lot of pain.
What happened to his mother has been a mystery for over 2 decades. It's been a case haunting deputies Lou Ebley and Bill Peterson, retired police officers who volunteer their time at the Oakland County Sheriff's Cold Case Unit.
Current investigators are so busy with current cases that they don't have time to be looking at cases 20, 30, 40 years old.
This murder mystery starts in Pontiac, where Brantley lived. It was a Saturday night in 1994, and the young mother had gone out with friends to a bar.
Some shots were fired outside the club, and she got split from her friends. Those were not the days of cell phones being common. They had pagers, hooked up with some other people she knew, and got a ride. They stopped at a payphone at a place, outside a place called Terry Tires.
The 23-year-old then went to stay with a friend at 800 Scottwood, walking distance from Terry's Tires. Then, in the middle of the night, her pager went off. Brantley left the home on Scottwood, walking back to that payphone outside of Terry's Tires. Who paged her? We still don't know. No one knows if she ever made it to the phone or what happened. She was never seen alive again. The next morning at Hawthorne Park in Pontiac in the early morning hours, just a few feet away from the boat ramp, a passerby noticed Brantley's body.
She had 2 serious stab wounds, fatal stab wounds, one to the neck, one to the chest. She had been beaten.
Dominic was too young to understand. The pain, though, lived with him every day.
My first day out on my own, my first day getting my first car, you know, everything, first day, new job, everything first. I wanted her to be there.
Who would want his mother dead? All leads led to nowhere. More than 20 years passed. Then, a jailhouse snitch.
Whose reliability was questionable at best, which is common.
But detectives had to check it out.
We collected evidence. We went through the evidence on all those cases, including Rosalie Brantley, and there was evidence to be compared. The lab came back and said, well, it's not the guy you suspected on this, but you might want to check out this fellow.
The name suggested Brandon Gohagen.
And it turned out he was imprisoned on another murder from 1995.
What was your reaction when you got that DNA?
Wow.
Deputies met with Gohagen, who denied knowing Brantley.
He doesn't have a reasonable explanation for his DNA to be where it was. And he certainly didn't, because he denied knowing her, denied ever having sex with her.
The case went to trial, and Gohagen was found guilty of sexually assaulting and murdering Brantley. He got a life sentence.
I dreamed of something like this happening, but I never thought it would. I'm glad justice was finally served.
The Oakland County Sheriff does something pretty unique. The Cold Case Squad is made up of 8 volunteer former police officers who dedicate their time and expertise to solving cold cases like this one. I'm Karen Drew, Local 4 Defenders.
23 years.
Yeah,
what a wait.
An eternity.
But there, finally now.
Indeed.
Yep.
All right, Dr. Frank McGeorge has a story you'll want to tune in for tomorrow night.
He's a local physician with a unique perspective on the concussion discussion as a player, as a doctor, and as a dad.
When I was playing, it was your head was a battering ram and run through the player with your head.
I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Tomorrow night at 11, former Wolverine Chris Hutchinson shares his thoughts on the growing concern about concussions and how he feels about his own son following in his footsteps.
I think U of M people tell you there's no such thing as a former Wolverine. You're always a Wolverine. I think this is the way it goes. It feels really cool out there tonight. My hunches is just average, but we've been spoiled, right?
You're right.
It is. It is the coldest night since May. Yeah, but it's just October's way of saying, hey, I'm still here, guys, because we are going to warm up as we head towards the end of the week. So just a little speed bump in the road. as we head back towards the 70s, believe it or not. Just keep that in mind when you look at these temperatures. 37 right now in Port Huron, 35 out in Ann Arbor. Of course, when we see clear skies, those are the locations that usually drop the quickest. There will be other 30s as we head towards tomorrow morning. Most of us, though, are going to stop in the low 40s. And this is after a week and a weekend of plenty of rain, at least for a lot of us. You can see that line fairly sharp of the 1-inch total since Thursday. It was mostly our north and west zones that got it, but that amount of rain really changed the game. In fact, the October rainfall totals now double at Metro, and that was one of the lower totals. Some places triple and quadruple the number that they had in September. And we're not done with the month yet. There was so much rain, flowers are growing out of the driveway, apparently. This is out in Macomb on Storm Pin, so appreciate that shot. Beautiful look there. Not much to see on the satellite. The clouds that we did have are gone. That's perfect radiational cooling setup, which is what we've got out there. The only thing that's working in our favor is it looks like the winds are going to be just fast enough to keep frost from forming. So at least we've got that going for us. High pressure, though, is going to circulate some more mild air in here as we head towards the second half of the week. So that's when we expect the 70s to start showing up as we head towards the weekend. But we do have a cold one tonight. Let's look at lows. We'll start in the metro zone. City temperature 43. I think we'll probably be around 40 degrees at the airport when we wake up tomorrow morning. 30s out in Lenawee County. 39 is the number there. Slightly warmer out towards Monroe and Lake Erie. West zone, you're usually one of the coldest spots when we see this setup of clear skies, light winds. That's not going to be the case. Wind speed's just a little bit faster here, keeping temperatures in the low 40s. But it will be cold enough to see the 30s there in Sanilac County. And we will stay in the low 40s closer to Lake Huron tomorrow morning. High temperatures in the afternoon, about 10 degrees better than what we did today. 67 is what we're expecting with plenty of sunshine. And then as we get into the next 7 days, look at all that sun taking us into the weekend. Not a drop of rain in the forecast until Monday of next week, which is fine. We had plenty over the last
no doubt about it. Yeah.
All right, Ben. A man stuck in a manhole for 6 days finally rescued. How first responders brought him back to ground level.
Also, a case of road rage gets even more out of control as an angry driver pulls a gun, and we've got the video next.
A shot fired during a road rage incident in Clawson. Surveillance shows the two drivers pull into a parking lot. One jumps out, the other tries to run him down. Then that driver gets out of his car, points a gun, and fires a shot. Police are still trying to find the armed driver.
Man. Ann Arbor City Council has approved additional money to ramp up the city's lethal deer management efforts. City officials say an estimated 250 to 350 deer need to be taken in the north and east sides of the city.
The NHL and Detroit Red Wings announced today that Oakland University could soon have a Division I hockey team. The school is being evaluated to start and maintain an NCAA men's and women's hockey team. 4 other universities are part of the study.
Passengers on an Air Asia flight from Australia to Indonesia got quite a scare when the plane they were on plummeted 20,000 feet. The aircraft lost cabin pressure. It quickly dropped from 32,000 feet to 10,000. Passengers say they looked to the crew for direction, but they were panicking and hysterical. Not a good mix. Passengers say they started texting goodbye messages to loved ones, but the plane managed to return to Australia and land safely.
It's been called utterly inappropriate. An online company has pulled a controversial Halloween costume after getting backlash on social media. This is the costume called Anne Frank costume for girls. It includes a green beret, blue dress, brown bag, and an ID tag. Of course, Anne Frank was the young Jewish girl who died in a concentration camp during the Holocaust. Her diary, which was written during her family's 2 years in hiding, was later found and published. 6 days, that's how long a Houston man spent stuck in a manhole before finally getting rescued.
6 days. Now, the man is homeless. He says he was walking through a field when he fell in the morning in a construction area. Fortunately, finally, a crew heard him yelling and called for help. Firefighters used a tripod, a ladder, and a harness to rescue the man. He does have a broken ankle. He's dehydrated, as you would well expect after 6 days, but other than that, going to be okay. It's believed that flooding from Hurricane Harvey caused the manhole cover to come off.
Oh, wow.
So there's an effect still from the hurricane this long afterwards. Yeah, my God.
So what he's trying to do is blame you again.
It's your fault.
Did you hear that?
He was handy. So.
He's got it.